rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the village board meeting of September 9th, 2024. Roll call, please.
Stacy, Terry,
Here.
Kraus,
Here.
Gardner,
Here.
Weisbach.
Here.
In your packet, you have minutes from the last meeting of August 26th. Does anyone have any changes? If not, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Hang on, sorry. Think the
Discussion.
tree lighting, and the executive session are reversed. I talked about the tree lighting compared to the executive session. Do we double check that?
What was your,
I think this was me,
that was you?
and I think that was, did you make the motion to the executive session last time?
Yeah.
Then yeah, so you
Okay.
just switch these.
You guys are moving too fast at that point.
Down, sorry.
Okay.
Couldn't get out quick enough.
All right. So are the motion and second amended to take those changes?
Yes.
All right. Roll call.
Terry,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Weisbach.
Yes.
Village clerk's report.
I'll find it here. Total tax income received in the month of August is $257,497.52. That's all.
Okay. We have a resident who wishes to address the board.
Yes, President Meyer. My name is Mike Moody, and my wife Colleen is here.
Stand up.
If you, I don't want to lock the camera. If you've read the handout, you've probably seen feces staying there about 20 times. We live at 638 Catalpa Street, and our neighbors at 642 Catalpa Street, they've been breaking ordinances, violating ordinances and codes, mostly over the last 8 years. They've been there about 18 years. And our two major issues with them, now Donna's on the good side of our house, and they are on the neglected side. And what has become a problem has actually become a health problem for us. Their deck is about 7 feet from our house, and they use that as a bathroom for their dogs. And this has been going on for like the last 8 years, where they've had anywhere from 1 to 4 dogs at a time that defecate and urinate on that deck. It's only because of David Harrison being very proactive and being on them, and even though fines are levied, they rarely have to pay them. And the court gives them 90 days to remedy whatever situations there are, but they will wait till the 88th day. There's no urgency, and the problem is that it's actually affecting our quality of life. The smell is so bad on days we can't sit outside. I recently installed this whole house fan. It actually pulls that smell into the house. We can't even run that. We've used trays of bleach, of vinegar, anything to try to kind of neutralize that. I approached him several times, and he laughs at me, basically saying that it's his property, he could do whatever he wants with it. Now, last time I checked, there's a reason ordinances and codes are in place to protect the people that actually take care of their properties. In fact, I think most people that take care of their properties don't even know what the ordinances are, because they never violate them. And we need something done with that. They need to find another location on their property to have their dogs go to the bathroom away from our house. They used to use a concrete pad behind their garage. David's very familiar with the area as Donna is, where when my wife was there, when they first moved in, 18 years ago, they had 3 dogs that they kept in the garage the whole year. They never let them into the house, and they used that concrete pad as their bathroom. And they would never clean up. The grandmother had to come in to clean up anywhere between 25 to 35 piles of feces. But in turn, since they've gotten these other dogs, they use the deck that's close to our house. So one of our requests is for them, and I think this is where we need administrative help from the village, to insist or somehow make them use another park because it's affecting us. It's affecting our quality of life. When I retired, I didn't think I'd have to be dealing with this. I'm 69 years old. I have never lived next to a situation as we do now. It's only 2 blocks from the village hall. I know it wouldn't be tolerated in any of the subdivisions, and I'm sure for you folks too. That would be a condition next to your properties that you would not tolerate. It's just we're the average homeowner and voter in the village. We don't have that kind of clout, but we're asking for your help. The other thing too is the condition of the property. They have weeds that turn into 7-foot, 8-foot trees. Their garage is ready to collapse. Their deck is contaminated. That has been sealed or treated in 18 years. The property is a complete mess. The pool situation, their pool is located about 100 feet from the elementary school. They have a ladder that goes into the pool that any small child could access. The roll guard on it is actually on the inside part of the pool, where if a child did fall in, they wouldn't be able to get out. And this is only 100 feet from the school. So not only the health issues with the property, the neglect, and now the safety concerns too. We have small grandchildren as well, although we keep really a close eye on them when they're outside. We don't have a fenced-in yard. So that's our concerns, and we're hoping that the village could help us do something about that. We're gonna be out of town for the next meeting, but when we come back on October 14th, we're hoping that you folks would have some kind of plan or something that we could use to remedy these issues for us.
Also mow the weeds, because all it does is create rodents. We've had to kill so many rodents, I can't
Yeah.
even tell you the number of rodents we've caught and killed. I mean, that's just,
Because of the overgrowth of the weeds, we've had to trap a lot of them. We're really surprised, and I'm not exaggerating, we're surprised we haven't seen rats. We've seen everything except that yet. So those are our major issues. What I wrote in there, folks, is like a manifesto. Excuse some of the rambling, but it's just something that's really been bothering us, and we're at a point now, we don't want to have to move out of Beecher. My wife's family has been here over 100 years, and we take good care of our property. We invest a lot of money in our property, and we're hoping that somehow the village could step in and insist, because these people are not law professors. So if you're telling them something that, I'm not saying putting the fear of God into them, but they really need a full court press put on them, because we can't deal with this anymore. Okay, thank
And
you.
I know you've made me aware of that when I first got elected, and we've had several code enforcement officers. Dave has been doing a great
Oh
job
my
over there,
gosh,
and they've been
he's excellent.
ticketed over and over again, and they've been taken to court, and I want to say they probably have a different judge just about every time they go in, and they give them leniency, and they let them go without the fine, or they just refuse to pay the fine. I think they were just in last week.
yeah, 90 days. So
Yep.
they can go 90 days and not do nothing? Well, by that, you're gonna get the snow. Okay, the weeds are gonna stay there all winter. More rodents are gonna come. It just, nothing's ever done with these
And
people.
even the pool, I want to say, because I saw that pool several years ago and brought that up, that the ladder was there. Well, they moved the ladder, and I have a feeling the ladder came back, and then they moved the ladder, and then the ladder comes back, and because I've been around behind the property, I've had a look at it. Let us talk at Village Hall. I know we discussed this today, because we were talking about potentially if there's something we can get the health department involved.
And President Meyer, I think that's something that would definitely put pressure on them. But when we have reached out to, now, you obviously have much more clout than we do, but we've reached out to Will County before, and of course, they put it on you guys. So I'm hoping that between that and even like safety inspections, whatever, because they have small children, they have grandchildren that they actually walk through all those feces a couple years past to go to the pool. They have another toddler that lives in the house. So if we smell it outside, they have to be smelling that inside. And I know with dried feces, there's diseases with that too, especially when they go airborne. So we even consider going to DCFS, but they're so backlogged and so understaffed, it would just be a complaint filed. It wouldn't be followed through. But I even threatened them with that statement, and they just laughed, said, go ahead. So you kind of see the mentality that you're dealing with. No pride, very lazy. They have no business owning property within city limits or town limits, and they definitely don't have any right owning animals. Because even though they're not physically hurting the animals, they're abusing them by just with the feces and everything else, so.
And that is a wooden deck, so really,
Yeah.
there's, I mean, that has soaked in for so long that there's gonna be no retrieving that deck, even if it's
No.
cleaned up.
No.
It's gonna make no difference.
Even if you power wash it, it's still gonna,
It needs to come down, but again, well, I appreciate you guys reading through, take the time to read through that and look at the pictures, because like I said, we're at wit's end. It's gotta change, something's gotta change.
and the pictures are recent too, right?
Most of them are recent, yeah.
So it just,
On a humid day, I'm 2 houses down, on a humid day, I can smell it.
Did you go to the court hearings and explain that to the hearing officer or the judge?
you went to.
I went to court one time and talked to, attorney, is it Tom Canute? And he didn't have me testify. He worked something out, but even with that, I would have testified. It might have more, I have no problem going to court. I don't know if that would have had an impact last time, but even that time that I did go, they still were given like 90 days to remedy it, and they don't do anything right away. I mean, and really I think some of it is intentional too, because they know it really pisses us off. So they're gonna do whatever they can, but again, it's beyond our comprehension how people can live like that. And how you can look outside your back door and say, oh, this is good, this is fine. I mean, it's so unhealthy. I mean, it does bother us health-wise, but the people living in the house, I mean, it has to have much more of an effect on them as well, so. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, under my report, the first thing we're going to do is we have a new trustee to be sworn in. That is Brian Diachenko. So if someone would make a motion to appoint Brian Diachenko as trustee.
I'll make the motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Weisbaum,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Curie.
Yes.
Would you like to come up and I can swear you in?
Just so you're sure that was rhetorical, she meant to come up. You'll get that later.
Yes, right here. Ignore that, right? Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I, Brian Diachenko,
I, Brian Diachenko,
having been appointed to the position of village trustee
having been appointed to the position of village trustee
in the village of Beecher,
in the village of Beecher
in the county of Will,
and the county of Will,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the position of village trustee
of the position of village trustee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you.
You wanna stay, then stay, but you don't have to. I wanna stay. Okay, fine.
Right over there, and you have a name tag over there.
You wanna get educated. I would knock that up to there's no kids in the pool, but it's not. Okay. But it's been in and out. I know.
Also, under my report, we received a letter from ComEd that they're gonna be doing tree trimming within the next 3 months. So if they're out there tree trimming, it's not us, this is ComEd. And they are going to they're going to be contacting the homeowners that are affected. So I'm not even 100% sure where they're trimming yet, but they will be out somewhere in town within the next 90 days. So the last thing I have under my report, we had a meeting for the Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and when we get to that point, I'm gonna let trustee Kraus talk about that. But the one thing we discussed is, and this is not on the agenda for a vote because we really don't have to vote on this. We had discussed when we put all the new lights up on Penfield that we were gonna somehow decorate them this year. So we were debating back and forth about whether we were gonna put lights on them or whether we were gonna do banners. The poles are outfitted for banners. So we had talked to the chamber debated about going back and forth to the businesses to see if they would like to do a, Merry Christmas in the name of the business. We don't have a lot of time for that anymore. We're getting closer and closer to where we would have to make that decision. So we had spoken to Gipple Graphics, and it would be somewhere around, if the village did it, somewhere around $23 per banner if it was generic. Like if we did, I think there's about 57 poles, or 54, so if we did 27 of them that said Season's Greetings and 27 that said Merry Christmas or something and alternated them, it's under $1,500. The weather will take out half of them by next year anyway, but if we wanted to do something next year where we sold it to the businesses, so we're debating about just getting it done so that we can still get them up by Christmas. Did you get any different, have you talked to?
I just spoke to the chamber president in the parking lot here, and he is presenting at the chamber meeting currently, to do business banners at the cost of upwards of $50 to $70 per banner. So
Okay.
we're kind of going back and forth. I think
Yeah.
we're both on the same page as far as doing banners. It's just exactly what we're gonna do. So
Yeah.
hopefully either side will have more information tomorrow.
Yeah,
So.
and hopefully, because I had talked to him earlier this week, or towards the end of last week, and said we don't have a whole lot of time left. If the businesses decide to do it, that's great. Who's gonna get a hold of them, who's gonna call them, who's gonna collect the money? If it becomes a chamber event, that's fine. They are gonna be closer to $50, $75 a piece, that's fine, but then, we're kind of out of it and we don't have a whole lot of time to do it, so. Depending on what they come back with after their meeting tonight, we may end up just getting banners ourselves. So just kind of to let you know that's where we're headed. We debated about putting lights on the poles, which would be nice. I don't know about lighting them all the way to the bottom. I just keep thinking people are gonna rip them off of there. And, if we did something that just wrapped around the tops, but honestly, you could go after Christmas or, pick up cheap lights and just replace them every year and just do the very tops of the poles just to have something on them. We looked at those snowflakes that we have on Route 1, and each snowflake, depending on the size, costs between $350 and $650 per snowflake. And those poles on Penfield aren't really set up for it. The way the brackets are set up, it's really not set up for the snowflakes. So that's not gonna happen for it, so.
I just received a message from the chamber asking, is the village willing to make the orders for the signs that the businesses purchase for the light poles? Basically, I think what he's asking is if we would do the legwork for it, of contacting the businesses and whatnot, so. That must be where they stand on
You
it.
said we're still cutting it close.
Yes, we are cutting it close.
Yeah, I think,
And it depends, if they're talking to 27 businesses and collecting and trying to get all that done in time to be able
Right.
to get these ordered for Christmas.
he asked me if there was a chance if they had 55 or more businesses that wanted to, if a business wanted to purchase more than one, if we had other poles in town for them to put these on, and I told them no, due to those banners being smaller size than what we used to put up where our old brackets currently are. So they're kind of limited to that 55 as well.
To be determined, I'm not gonna commit
Yeah.
village staff at this point, so I'll talk to them later.
Okay.
Alrighty. Commission reports, 4th of July commission, trustee Kraus.
Thank you. Next meeting is December 3rd at 6:30 here in Village Hall. It is tentative, so it might change. Right now, we're just sort of a lull in the action and then start picking it up in December again.
Okay. Youth commission, trustee Weisbach.
The first meeting of the summer was held last month. Early summer activities were discussed. They were well attended and well received. The night bike ride, which is the first event of the fall, is scheduled for September 13th. Other upcoming events are still being planned, and the next meeting is scheduled for September 17th.
Alrighty. Historic preservation commission, trustee Gardner.
Thank you. It was a pretty historic day in Beecher today. I'm sure as everybody knows, Union Pacific had their big boy locomotive, number 4014, come through on their Heartland of America tour. I believe there was, probably cheap, wouldn't you say, about 200, 250 people at least in town? Thank you to the EMA out there. I know they were out there kind of keeping an eye on things. Our volunteers at the depot, we had that open for a while. All in all, it was a good show. Our next meeting is going to be on the 18th of September at 6 p.m. at the depot.
Okay. I'm gonna move up planning, building, and zoning next, since we have guests here today, so let's move that up to the front, and then we'll go back in order again afterwards.
All right, thank you again. Building department monthly report is enclosed. Consider a request from Lennar Homes to make proposed changes to the planned unit development ordinance that includes the Hunters Chase East subdivision.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a brief introduction. First and foremost, thank you for having me come back. I brought this issue to you on this request a little over 2 weeks ago at your last meeting, and you decided to maybe not vote and take some time to look at some of our product in Indiana, and I hope that you had the opportunity to do that. For the record, my name is Todd Clevin. I'm the Director of Land Acquisition for Lennar Homes. Brief history, Lennar Homes is a nationwide home builder, been in business since 1952, building about 80,000 homes a year. Out of the Schaumburg office, we do about 2,000 homes a year, more specifically on the Northwest Indiana hub leader, where we are touching maybe 600 homes a year. And we're looking to expand our footprint into Beecher. Due to the opportunity that we came across the vacant lots. I've been watching Beecher ever since a child. I was born and raised in Crown Point, Indiana. I remember going to Princess Cafe with my family as a kid. And, the opportunity of these vacant lots with a development partner that we work with in other municipalities asked me about them several years ago, and we decided to take a run at it. Unfortunately, it was always a brick requirement that kind of made us not look at it as hard. And with driving it recently, I noticed some of the homes out there did not seem to meet the 60%, and I figured if we could reduce some of that cost and meet the ASP, where we're not competing with ourselves over state line. Everybody knows there's a huge tax difference. 1% versus 3%, which is, in these economic times, you feel that on your monthly payment. So we're trying to build in Hunters East and be around that 330 to 350 range. And the brick requirement would just push us over that. The sellers take a huge concession on the acquisition of the home sites themselves, which will also help with that. And I think we're in contract for 43 of the home sites. There's another 60 that reside out there. Same seller, just with another partner through a different LLC. And if we're successful with those 40, we anticipate moving to the remaining 60, and then also take advantage of some farmers in the area that are looking to sell. Again, I just want to be part of Beecher, put our flag in Beecher, and bring the product that we're successful with in other markets. We are a publicly traded builder. We are a production builder. About 80% of our homes are inventory, which is a professional term for spec home. We do custom. If somebody wants to purchase a dirt home from us, we will offer them other options, but 80% of them are spec homes. And this particular one, the 43 lots, I would anticipate about a year and a half until we're sold out, if we're fortunate enough to move forward with it. So I'm here entertaining the brick requirement to see if there'd be any interest in reducing that. We do have some of the images in front of you from the last meeting. Homes start at 1,400 and go all the way to 2,300. Again, the average would be about 337, with topping out closer to $400,000.
And so you're only looking at 43 of them at the moment, and
Yeah,
if that goes well.
Correct.
So I have to say, I'm gonna start. I have to say, my only concern.
If I may,
Oh, yeah.
you did ask me to give you the percentage last time. I did figure that out. Those would be 25%. The ones that are in front of you are 25% brick.
Okay, because some of these, and that was actually my question, some of these, like the ranch house, and again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I think this looks good. I understand, so in the subdivision you're looking at, that there was always the 60% brick requirement. That seems to have eroded a bit of late, and there are some that actually look exactly like this. But some of these, I know you had said per the renderings, some of these are close to 25%. Like some of these 2 stories, there's just a tiny little bit of brick on the front of the garage. I don't know that that would float. Some of the rest of these, like this one, reminds me of the ranch, where it's straight across. If it was here and here, that would be pretty close to where the ranch is. But some of these 2 stories, like this one, this is actually the same as the ranch. Some of those 2 stories look like they hardly had any brick at all.
And just another side note, you know, I'm going on my 29th year, developed 19 years in my own backyard in Crown Point. Primarily my business was all in our community. So you can imagine what I go through seeing people out there thinking I'm destroying the community. It's not how I do business, and nor would I ever come in here and try to sneak something through. I was approached by other builders saying, why don't you just submit your plans? They probably would have approved them, nobody would have known. That's not how I do business. I found the 60% in the code, and that's why I'm here. I would never come in here and then say, well, you issued me a building permit, and then have that problem, you know. When I enter a community, especially for the first time, I always said, unless it's your very last project, you better have that relationship, and that's why I'm here.
And I did call the village of, I called Cedar Lake, and I called Lowell, just to talk to their village hall and see if there were any issues, and, you know, I did not hear anything bad, so I figured I'd let you know that too. I didn't make it out to look at the homes, but I wanted to talk to the municipalities to see if they had.
And, you know, with any builder in any municipality, you're gonna have issues. I mean, we have 200 employees, and not all the employees understand the political relations, and there are concerns. I just had a big one in Portage, and I'm thinking, why did this not come to me first? And so I knew how to address. We paused everything, and we satisfied it. You're always gonna have issues, but again, circling back to my earlier comment, it's how you work through those issues.
So you do not have your own actual places, everything contracted out?
Well, we have 200 employees
Okay.
on the payroll, all managers, but everything is, we call them trade partners, subcontractors.
Okay.
We don't even own hammers, so everything is contracted out.
Okay.
And those are all local employees. You know, we do pull from Illinois into Indiana, and most of those subcontractors will be the ones that are building the Beecher product as well.
Okay. And your price range again, you were saying you were trying to stay with?
Average is $330, so I can see some of these going up to $400. The larger ones that are 2,400 square feet, they started, I think, they do meet the covenant restrictions for the square footage. I think their smallest ones might be 1,800, and I can tell you verbatim, I have it here,
Good, not bad.
but it's 1,800 to 2,400, five different homes. And each home has different elevations, so again, we're asking for the B elevation approved, but if somebody comes in and wants a C elevation, it'll just be different roof line pitches and stuff like that, just because we even force our own anti-monotony on ourselves, but we won't be monotonous, so we have a diagram that we make sure 3 homes either way, not directional or side by side, are not the same colors, just to maintain that anti-monotony.
That was all my questions. Anybody else? Questions, concerns?
I have a quick question. So let's say it goes forward with those, you said the initial 43. So the plan is just, you're gonna build all 43. So my concern would be is, okay, you build 43 homes, and I don't know what happens if, let's say the housing market tanks, or we, you know, potentially sitting here with maybe 43 empty homes, or, I mean, what's the,
Yeah, how many permits do you pull at a time?
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. How many?
That would be something that I also want to disclose with you, because we are the largest builder in the United States, and you're probably used to 1 permit every 6 months. We will come in here and it'll be overwhelming, where we might want to pull 10 building permits, but we'll work with you on it to make sure we're not overwhelming you. And if for some reason it was overwhelming you, not necessarily on a 40-unit project, but if I was coming in here and presenting a 500-unit development where I would have extra commitments to help hire a building inspector or whatever, we would negotiate that at the time of the approvals if you needed that, or third parties. But this one that's 40, we could be patient, and, you know, I don't know how long you need to review them, but you would definitely have an abundance of building permits. I would say probably 5 up front. And as far as sitting vacant, we have 0 homes that sit vacant. That's one good thing about the size that we are, and the reason we're successful during these economic times is we're currently buying a rate down. So if you were to purchase a Lennar home today, you're only going to be paying about 4% because we have our own mortgage company. And we play with that different ways. Sometimes we go with 7% forward commitment where it's adjustable. We just stop the 3-2-1 program. There's all different things that they're doing to make sure that they sell these homes, because once we start them, we have to make sure they sell within 90 days.
Because I drove through the, what is it, Kingston Ridge?
Yes.
Over in Lowell. How many homes is that slated to be, or?
That's 436. I appreciate it. By the way, welcome to the board.
Thank you.
The reason why I smile is we have 100 homes under roof out there, and that one moved very, very fast. And we used that one for several reasons. There's a lot of homes out there. And when Illinois changed their energy code, and you had to go 2x6, we had to redraw all our plans. Well, in order to meet our starts, we had to make it up somewhere. So they started a lot more homes out there than they normally would have, but they're selling, and the momentum's there. And I'm really proud of that one. Now, that's a fully amenitized community, which I'd love to bring here. That's with walking trails, pool house, top lots, pickleball courts. We do amenitize them when they start surpassing 200 units. Everyone typically does have some sort of an amenity, but when they start getting that high, we like to put that $2 million pool house amenity in there, because it just, you need that. And that's all owned by the HOA and maintained. Circling back to the 1952 establishment, Lennar has yet to have one HOA fail. But one good thing about Illinois, unlike Indiana, is you have the SSA. So if the municipality did have to step in, Illinois has the right to do whatever they need to do and assess just the homes within that community and not burden the taxpayers throughout. It's a good thing Illinois has. Indiana does not have that. We try to work on that other ways, because that's, I could go on a soapbox here, but when I first started, municipalities didn't want the ponds. I should say they wanted the ponds, and then they got overwhelmed and burdened, and they no longer wanted to maintain them, so they wanted the HOAs to maintain them. Now we've come full circle, and they're like, well, what if it fails? Who's gonna maintain it? It's always a revolving door, and you try to manage that.
We have found ourselves in the pond business periodically.
Yes.
So to answer your question, you would not see vacant ones.
You do senior housing in some areas?
We do. I personally don't like restricting it, because inheritance, that causes some issues. So we typically do age targeted, which we call Indari, and there's Indari at Kingston Ridge. That is fully maintenance free. Snow removal, grass, and we limit what can be built there too. Pools can't be built, fences can't be built, just because one company comes in and mows all the home sites. It's easier for them. But yeah, we do target age restricted. It's definitely still a very popular sector of the market, for sure.
So I know, I mean, I guess my question is, the homes we have being built in this town are selling. I get it, they're not gonna be near the rate of what you're looking at, but why couldn't you match that and sell those homes at the same rate that the current ones are being sold at? Like, there's 2 or 3 builders in town, and like I said, the rate is, I think, 1, 2, maybe 3 houses at a time. They're going for the high 300s-ish, so why
Well,
couldn't you
the
guys build the
case,
same
so
thing?
we won't enter a market if we're not at least doing 3 per month. I'm assuming they're not doing 3 per month. Whether they're not capable of doing it, or the demand's not there, you hit that right price point, the demand will be there. And then per my earlier comments, we do what we can to make sure we get that pace. Whether we have to take a haircut on the gross margin, or we're able to offset it with the interest rate. By the way, we pay for that interest rate to be bought down too. I think we pay about $50,000 per house right now, buying an interest rate down to 4.5. The reason Lennar decided to do that is there are 2 options: either slash the price, and then you lower everybody's house value. We decided to do it through the interest rate, keep those house values up where they need to be as we weather the storm. But we're just not, I think that what you're seeing is probably a builder marketing themselves, finding that custom buyer, and the inventory is just not there. It'd be like going to a car lot, and I want this specific car. Well, let's sit down, let's put it all together, and we'll order it, it'll be in 9 weeks. It's just readily available. It's probably what some of these builders might not have. I don't know if they're able to get the lending to build the spec homes. That's always a tough thing on the private side as well. But I have heard there's success from Philippine builders, who is the partner on the other remaining 60 home sites. And that's another reason why I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to take another look at, there's some activity in Beecher, because, from what I remember, 2004, 2003, '43, that's when you saw a lot of this activity going on. And the recession hit, and it's Crown Point, their administration, they stopped development basically. And so all of us developers went to Cedar Lake, put Cedar Lake on the map, followed Mr. White, God bless him, and the money he put into Cedar Lake. And I think that possibly could have hurt Beecher, because you just go right across state line and you're saving, you know, $14,000, $15,000 a year. But now Cedar Lake has a moratorium, no more new development, so hence why I'm here. Because I don't think we're gonna have that crossover like we were having in Cedar Lake.
I've got concerns, especially listening to you talking when you say you do what you have to do to hit that rate. I'm not saying you're cutting corners, but, you know, when you're doing building and trust building, and when you're, have these select models, you know, and you have 80% of them spec homes, you know, there's no way you would be able to deviate from that. I had the opportunity to talk to some people in the Rose Garden Estates, and they love like the trails and the stuff that you have in different parks and stuff that you would bring in, but we don't have 250 homes in that, or lots in that area, so I know that that's, you know, one of the things that more positive feedback with Lennar doesn't, you know, wouldn't be able to come into Beecher. And so, you know, depending on what you have to do when you're building a home and what specs you're putting it in, I hate to see lower, you know, the lower end, you know, majority of the lower end houses being built there, you know, and not have a different variety of homes in that area.
So, and I appreciate your concern. I could add a little bit of color to that. So again, there's 5 plans. The options on a dirt sale or pre-sold are there as far as different elevations. But one thing that we do inside the homes is if you research Lennar, you're going to see EI. It stands for everything's included. And that is really one of the secrets to success. So we don't play that builder game. Oh, hey, here's the price. Oh, by the way, you want an air conditioner? You want a microwave? You want a refrigerator? Everything's included. So we give you all that up front. And it's quartz countertops. It's not linoleum floors. It's not. It's all that upgraded stuff. And we are taking a hit on that. Because you turn around and you buy the rate down in the economic conditions that we're in, we're basically almost giving that stuff away now. But if we didn't include those upgrades, we're gonna lose it to the competition, to that builder that you just referenced. So our product, the inside stuff, it's all there. The quality's there. It's a higher end appliance packages, it's the quartz countertops, it's a higher end flooring and carpet. You know, it's not just bare bones builder grade product.
Anybody else?
Make a motion?
All right, yep. Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to make proposed changes to the planned unit development ordinance that includes Hunter's Chase East subdivision.
And maybe we should specify 25%, no less than, or something like that as far as brick?
I would say on the list, yeah. The homes on here, so are you planning on building, you said B and C?
These, the elevations, yeah.
Yes, these are ones.
The ones that are shown are about 25%, but we can add that to the garage columns, on the ones that don't have that.
Because like the metal lark, that's definitely not.
The question with 25% in the industry is always, is a grosser net. The industry standard is net, so in other words, if you don't take in the windows and the doors, you take in the actual surface of what would be siding versus brick, and then you calculate 25% from there.
Yeah, there were 2 specific ones on here that had just about none.
The red and the metal lark, like you wouldn't be building those.
That's why, well, we'll have to make sure it's 25% of the net surface area.
Okay.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second? No second? All right, motion failed.
Okay.
That's enough, thank you
Appreciate
very
your
much.
time, though. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Finance and Administration Committee, trustee Cross.
Consider a motion approving the treasurer's report. Donna?
The total month end for August for the village accounts, $7,423,948.85. The August month end total for the commission accounts, $265,018.66. The total combined, $7,688,967.51. The August month end in general, $1,576,628.93. The August commission non-AP payments totaled $327,893.46. All standard payments in that. If no one has any questions, that would end my report.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion, roll call.
Diachenko?
Yes.
Weissman?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Variance reports are enclosed for your review. Consider a motion approving the list of bills and payroll. The amount of $107,615.84.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second?
There's a motion and a second, discussion, roll call.
Terry?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Weissman?
Yes.
Diachenko?
Yes.
Discussion of Illinois Environmental Protection Agency final loan closing amendment for the lead service line replacement project. IEPA concluded that all conditions relative to the project work have been satisfied, and the submission of this amendment closes out the loan as it was subject to 100% principal forgiveness. Anything else on that? And that's all I have for finance.
All right, Public Buildings and Properties, Parks and Recreation Committee, trustee Kraus.
Public safety facility, it's going up, with facade and brick are going up. I don't know if they got colors, but I think it looks nice so far. Anything else specific?
They have to finish the brickwork before they can put the roof trusses on, so that's why the roof's not going out right now. They gotta finish most of the brickwork. They have 3 bricklayers there today. It's going really fast. Hopefully they'll be done. They figure they might have the trusses on in 2 weeks.
They're working over the weekend too, I saw some people out there. So, yeah, they're getting moving on it.
Yeah, they're moving pretty quick.
That's all I have.
Okay. We did plan and building zoning, Public Safety Committee, trustee Terry.
Thank you, Mayor. The police reports, monthly reports enclosed. Chief, anything like that? EMA's monthly reports enclosed. Director Heim?
Just one thing I wanna bring up, the BYC Bike Night Parade this Friday. I drew up the route today. We're gonna keep it in the O section similar to the parade, our 4th of July parade, but we'll stop at Penfield, so that whole section will have closed down for about an hour for that Friday. So just wanted everybody knows,
What's the start time on it?
7:15.
Thank you. The code enforcement monthly reports enclosed. And that concludes my report, Mayor.
Did you have anything, Dave?
No, the grass hasn't been growing.
All right, Public Works Committee, trustee Gardner.
Public Works monthly report is enclosed. Sewer Department monthly report is enclosed. Splash pad will be closed for the season on September 30th, 2024. Discuss dates to close the pickleball/multi-use course for the season. Last year, the courts were closed on November 27th, which was the 4th Monday of November. I know there were several days last year where people were complaining when it was in the 50s and 60s, wondering why they weren't open, so.
Does anyone know how to predict the weather in November?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
is a couple weeks, I mean, is that, like, are you saying the fourth week in November? Like,
I think it's fine.
Okay. I was actually gonna ask if you wanted it earlier, I didn't know if people were out.
I was
there.
gonna
I didn't
say,
know
that's what you're going, yeah,
But,
that seems
Last
late,
year,
yeah.
last year we did have to take warm water there to pour down the cylinder pipes to get the pickleball nets out because they were frozen in place already. So, but we can, I think the 4th November will be the 25th. So if we shoot for that, we can advertise for that. Then November 25th will be closed down date for those. Okay. All right.
Discuss utilizing approximately $20,000 of infrastructure funds for asphalt patching.
We have approximately 60,000 in the infrastructure account dedicated to asphalt work this year. 50,000 of that, though, has already been allocated towards the Village Hall parking lot paving project. Side note, which is going to start on Wednesday and it should be done by Friday. So what I'm looking to do is just get some smaller patchwork done around town. And then when we get reimbursed from the state, hopefully over the winter months, right before the end of our fiscal year, hopefully we're back up to the 50, 60,000 range again to try to do a small project around town. So I'm just looking for your okay to just do some smaller patchwork around town with approximately 20,000.
You said we have about 60 in the account?
Yeah, so there's a couple projects that, thermoplastic for one, which has $75,000 budgeted in the infrastructure account, but we're not gonna hit $75,000 worth of work this year. I went back and looked, 5 years ago, we do thermoplastic every 5 years. And our invoice for the entire town at that time was around 34,000.
Okay.
This year, since Penfield Street and Gould Street were both done within separate projects, we're obviously don't have to do those. I'm not sure 5 years ago if, coming up on our project this year, if we were thinking everything's going sky high on pricing, if we just over budgeted, just to make sure that we had enough. So we'll have extra, I don't want to say extra, that's not the right term. We'll have sufficient funds in the infrastructure account in springtime when we get back into the possibility of doing other asphalt work around town. So.
Or the patching, because I know we discussed this last year.
Mhm.
I just, are they newer roads, are they older roads? Because, I mean, if we're patching.
So some of them are like Fairway Drive over here. We had a water service leak that was in the middle of the road approximately 2 years ago. I believe you and I actually looked at the road and we were talking about repaving the entire thing. Obviously $60,000 isn't going to get us there. So what we did is we cold patched that. Well, now that cold patch is sinking and settling, so I'd like to repair that the proper way. The same thing happened on the corner of Gould and Miller Street. If anybody goes around that corner over there, that's extremely rough. That's done in cold patch too. I'd like to patch that, and there's a couple other just small areas around town. So it's more from projects that have taken place over the last few years that, we were hoping to do full roads, and we're obviously not going to be able to right now. So just patching in those areas.
And that's what I'm getting at, maybe, if it's that, then I agree, but if I don't know, in some of these roads that we couldn't fix but we patch, it's still, the road's still bad.
Yes.
And then there's just a patch and then bad road and it looks like crap.
No, absolutely.
I'd rather just if we could maybe try to save up or get funds from different areas, maybe, late fiscal year next year.
Yeah, so that's what I'm.
And do a couple bigger projects and just put a Band-Aid on, an old road.
Definitely. So something else that comes out of the infrastructure account is there's 25,000 in there for sidewalks and 25,000 in curbs. Last year we didn't get any bids back for sidewalks, so I was anticipating on having more sidewalk work this year, and we did have a little bit. Usually what I do in that is I go off the list of resident complaints. So when I went out and marked those, we got the pricing back for it. I didn't do any type of curb work around town, but you guys just approved, I think the last meeting or the meeting before, a $22,000 or $23,000 bid. So there is still $25,000 in there for curb work that's assigned to it, but the administrator and I spoke on it briefly, and we said, let's see what sidewalks we can get done, since that's more of a hazard to the community than us hitting the curbs with the snowplow or the water not flowing as smoothly as it could. Let's concentrate on the sidewalk. So there's other money in that infrastructure account too that I'd like to see where we end at, in the springtime after we get through winter and everything like that, and see how much is actually there once we get thermoplastic done, sidewalk done. If we get reimbursed by the state, let's see, there may be 100,000 in there that we can actually do a full road project, and, because as we know, 60,000 isn't gonna go very far for street resurfacing, but if we get into the 100,000 range, we could do some pretty significant work, so. Yeah.
So we all agree on that?
See how it flows through.
Okay.
Who's writing the report?
Okay, Economic Development Community Relations Committee, trustee Weisbach.
Preparations for the fall newsletter are underway. If anyone has articles or information they would like included in the newsletter, please have those submitted prior to September 27th.
All right. Do we have any old business to come before the board?
I got something.
Okay.
We auctioned off 2 of our vehicles. Just wanted to give the board an update on that. We sold those 2 weeks ago tomorrow. The mini dump brought in $5,101. The next bid was $5,100, so the highest bid won it by $1. So playing the prices right on that one, and he won. And then the pickup truck brought in $2,500. So both those checks have cleared and went into the CESFA account. So just want to give you an update on that.
Excellent.
Summer concert series, our final one was Saturday. It was a bit chilly, but we had a nice glowing, roaring fire to warm the patrons up. Thank you, Mayor, for suggesting that. I want to thank everyone who's helped out through the process. I know they're not here anymore, but Trustee Giannotti and Musician, we had several meetings with that last year to plan this stuff. Thank you to Happy Life Ranch for serving food to the concerts, Sitbull providing the drinks, and then everyone else who helped out in the township for their monetary donation that they give us to help keep that a free event. Can we just go straight in tree lighting, or shall we just?
Go right ahead.
Tree lighting, we had a meeting to discuss the tree lighting. We picked a date, Sunday, December 1st, like the board agreed on, from 5 to 7 p.m. The details will be forthcoming very soon. Just wait for get past the summer concert series. But everyone was there, need to be there. The township, chamber, fire department, churches. Missing somebody?
I don't think so.
So it's planned and it's going. I believe we have enough volunteers. We're going to streamline it a little this year, just to keep it a little simpler, so it's easier for everybody. And then we'll get the information out in the newsletter. We'll have it on our social media along with our partners. Is there anything else right now? Go ahead.
5 to 7?
Yes, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m.
On the first? On the first.
Sunday, December 1st. Yes. That's all I have.
All right. Would someone make a motion? To go into executive session for appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Diachenko,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Weisbach,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.